Welcome to Right Night. This is one of my older interviews from Sounds of Steam from 2012 through 2014, or one of the interviews I did at a convention along the way. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a little bit of retro interview from myself and others.
And we're here with Warren and Betsy Talbot, or Betsy and Warren Talbot, depending which one you're talking to, of Married with Luggage, who, they have traveled the world and lived their dream. Matter of fact, their motto is an action plan for a dreamer. Oh, wait, no, that's your mission statement. Your motto would be life is short, live your dream.
Yes, our motto is life is short, live your dream. And the title of our podcast is An Action Plan for Dreamers, which is also the subtitle to our first book, Dream Save Do.
We're all about action.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just about actions and going after your dreams. That's what we talk about. Yes, that's action. It's fine, as long as that's your dream.
That's right. It's
Travis, you've revealed a lot now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry.
With just one little song, you've revealed exactly what your dream is.
That to wear Axe body spray. That was what I meant.
Honestly, that's a dream that's achievable. Now we know what we can get you for future gifts.
Yeah, if only they quit getting rid of their old scents and flavors and bringing out new ones, because you can't keep the same one with them.
Okay, you just said flavors. That concerns me. I don't know a lot about it. We left, I think, at the point that it was starting to come on. But I'm curious, do they now have flavors for Axe?
Well, flavors are not necessarily a tasting flavor, but yeah, they have chocolate and stuff.
Well, I guess it depends on how you're using the Axe body spray, whether it would be a scent or a flavor, huh?
That's very true, depending on which side of that can you're on. Or their can.
I feel like I'm missing out on so many popular culture references by not living in the United States. This is really bothering me. And I didn't realize this could be a reason to go back and spend time, is if there are flavors available that would, enhance the opportunities available with the fair sex.
You don't miss anything with missing pop culture. And by the way, to let the listeners know, you guys have been together as a couple for 9 years, and in 2006, I believe you said?
2008. 2008, we actually went through some health scares with people very close to us that kind of shook us to the core and made us realize that we need to figure out what's most important to us individually and start going after it. And that was, for us, it just happened to be we wanted to travel the world. And so we put that as our number one priority and started saving for this dream that we're on now.
Yeah, we stopped playing the waiting game on our lives.
Yeah, that's a good way to go. So you guys saved money. Did you sell your house, or did you just put it on?
We sold everything. We sold everything we own. We actually just have 2 backpacks now that we carry with us as we travel. And we're now been doing it for about a little over 2.5 years.
Yeah, all of our worldly possessions fit on our backs.
Yeah,
nice. And they traveled the world, guys. They traveled bus, train, bicycles, camels, horses.
Absolutely. You name it, we've probably been on that form of transportation at some point.
But yeah, this is what they did. They lived their dream, and that's how they fit into today's show, Steampunk to Reality, making your dreams come true. I've been following these guys online in their newsletter or their podcast in different forms for about 1.5 years or so, and their philosophy is just such a beautiful and strong thing, and they do bring this to everyone else and let them know this is how we did it, this is how you can do it. And that's what we're going to look at here.
Yeah, we spent all the time going after our passion, which is to help others live their dreams. We want to make sure, and we wrote our first book, Dream Save Do. We wrote it as a guide to help people create an action plan for the life they crave. That's what we really focused on. So it is really a step-by-step of how to go after whatever you want, So there's members of your community, I'm sure, that want to be, they want to write a steampunk novel. They want to make a video, they want to make movies. They want to decorate their homes. All of these are great examples of things that they can do to go after their dreams, but we want to help them. So everything we produce is designed to help that.
Right, which, what would you say the first step to working towards that is?
Well, I would say the first step is identifying the dream that you want to have and not really overthinking it, but just I want to travel around the world. When we first decided that this is what we were going to do, we didn't put too many restrictions on it. We just said, this is what we want. And very, very quickly after that, this is like 1A or 1B or whatever you want to, step 1A, is to set a deadline. Because if you don't have a deadline for that dream, it's not going to happen. I mean, the deadline is the stressor that makes you do the things you need to do every day to make it happen.
Yeah, we all have someday activities. Yeah, we have those activities that, someday I'm going to write a book about steampunk. I'm going to write my novel. I'm going to make my movie. Well, guess what? Someday is not a date. Someday is bullshit. Someday
tomorrow never comes.
It never does. So what you have to do is to focus on it. I would rather the wimpy philosophy of going and eating the hamburgers today than tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
it. Go after what you want and put it out there, right? And start making attempts towards it. And I think that's what you need to do to make your dream a reality.
Yep. Small steps. Set the big goal, then set the daily goal, the small goals.
Yeah. So for example, Travis, what is your dream?
Oh, my dream. Let's see here. I want to be financially independent. That doesn't mean rich, just means I want to go ahead and be able to do what I want to do. Now, what I want to do once I am there is travel and meet people. I do have a 10-year-old son, so he's included in this.
Of course.
And I do have small goals that I try to set each day. Some days I achieve them, some days I miss them. But ironically, we were talking before we started, brought you on the show here, and you mentioned a 2,000-word day goal for writing.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually my daily goal that I aim for.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
That's great.
And I get it done in about 2 hours, which isn't very much time at all, unless if I don't sit down to do it.
Correct. Right. And it's a habit, right? That becomes a habit. And I think this is something that's really important for everyone going after their dreams, right? If you want to be a writer, you have to have a daily goal. And to be a writer, the only thing different between you and people who aren't writers is you write. That's it. That's the difference. Committed writing each and every day. And now it's a habit. You've been doing it for a while now, so it's something that you know how to do. You know how long it takes. I think you have to do that no matter what it is.
Absolutely.
Speaking from a creative standpoint, lots of people are waiting for the creative muse to strike at any moment. Oh, I'll write when I'm ready or whatever.
She's a fickle bitch.
That is actually a lot of bullshit, because you can actually train yourself to become creative by knowing that you're going to have your butt in the seat to do your work every day at a certain time. And it works the same way for other dreams too. So if you have focused every day to take action toward whatever it is that you want to do, the sheer nature of doing that every single day is going to open up your mind to opportunities that you would not realize ever if you had not taken those daily steps. You're going to meet people, you're going to discover avenues you had not considered before.
And whether that's is this the universe working to help me? Is God directing me or whatever? Or if you're an atheist, are you just being more observant of opportunities around you? It doesn't matter what it is. The fact is, it works.
Yes.
And by the way, I got a list right here, and Betsy, you might like this here. It's a list of a different writer put out, and I put it up next to me because it has some great advice. And one of the things is, remember, you are the master of inspiration, not its slave.
Right.
And that's what you're saying. You don't wait for the muse to strike. You grab the muse by the throat, you shake it awake, and you tell it, we're working today.
Exactly.
Yeah, and some days there are days, and I'm sure you understand this because you are also a writer. There are some days those 2,000 words suck, right?
Yeah.
They just are, and you just can't figure out why. You don't know what's wrong. But what's important is that you wrote it. And it's important that tomorrow you're going to write another 2,000 words. Yeah, that is it. So
go ahead.
So if you are a movie maker, make a movie, right? Make a 3-minute movie, and it doesn't matter if it sucks. Just do it. And that type of action is what will differentiate you from 90% of humanity who will never go after their dreams.
Absolutely.
You learn from all of these experiences. The last book that we wrote, I wrote 30,000 words before we realized that it wasn't working, and we threw them all away and started all over again. But when we started all over again, then we had the core idea that we needed, and it worked. So, did I waste those 30,000 words, or were those 30,000 words necessary for us to get to the point that we needed to make that thing happen? So, you don't ever look at mistakes or things that didn't work as a bad thing. Mistakes are necessary to life, and we should embrace them more. They're great learning experiences.
And they give you ideas for bigger and better things, and you might build on them or change them, and that could become your new success. I find also surrounding yourself with whatever your goal is. So if it's movie making, watch other movies. If it's writing, read books. If for some reason you are going to watch a movie instead, then focus on the writing of that movie and what holds your attention, what attracts you. If you're going to decorate your house in a steampunk style, then look at different steampunk decor stuff. Join different groups, discuss it with people. Look at Victorian
Pinterest would be a great, Pinterest is a great place where I'm sure that there are thousands of pictures and images of people who have decorated their homes or rooms in their homes in steampunk.
Absolutely. So instead of playing Facebook games for hours on end, like so many of us do, myself included.
Wow, you've actually thrown yourself into there.
Yeah, it's
Axe body spray and Facebook. I'm waiting for the third one.
But if you're going to do that, at least if you're online, be working towards your dream instead of just burning time.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you have to step away from it at some point, obviously. You can't think about your dream 24 hours a day. It's just, it will freak you out. But what you can do is to make it the number one priority in your life beyond everything else. You talked about wanting to become financially independent. And we had, before we were on air, we were talking a little bit about the idea of, taking steps towards saving money. And I think this is the most important thing is you decided that this was the most important thing. So you had to cut out other places you were spending money.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I had a friend in England who's moving back to the States. Her husband's in the military, and she says, well, Travis, how do you live? What do you do for entertainment? And I started listing ideas for free entertainment, which you guys mentioned, meetup.com. Yep. I look at local colleges that do concerts. I watch for city concerts in the park. Now, I do have my moments where I go out, with my son, and we enjoy the new movie that just came out.
Of course.
But just comparing a one-time movie at $15 a ticket to you can buy a DVD for that price.
Yep.
And then you can watch it as much as you want, whenever you want. So it's just, again, prioritizing, and whether it's in medium ways like what I just mentioned or in absolute ways like what you guys did.
Yeah, one of the funny things, you mentioned DVDs, we're currently in Mexico, and we've been out of the U.S. for a few years now, but most of the places where we get DVDs, they're burned, right? Someone just walks into you on a bus or into a restaurant, and they've just got a giant stack of DVDs that they want to sell you. And they're anywhere between $1 and $3, right? And the best thing about buying DVDs off the street is the fact that you never know what you're going to get. You don't know what language it might be in. You don't know if it's got subtitles. You don't know if it's the actual movie you just bought. It is like a surprise every single time. Worth the $1.
Nice.
So see, you have something to look forward to when you and your son get on the road. Some of the movies may be, wow, chicka, bow, bow. You'll be all set.
I figure by the time I do that, I probably won't have to cover his eyes, but he might have to cover mine.
Oh, yeah. No child ever wants to watch that movie with their parents.
Yeah, he'll be like, Papa, I can't watch this with you. You just turn your head. I'm going to keep watching. So, turning your dreams to reality, whether it's steampunk or anything else, it's a matter of setting your goals, having daily goals as well as large goals. I think before we started to record, Betsy mentioned community. And community really helps, and steampunk has such... It's one of the themes on this show is music and laughter brings community. And I call myself a hub to connect people with other people, bands with fans, and authors with readers, etc., but also just people with people. I want to make this. Well, here's somebody else listening to the show, and they all comment on one page, and I've had people get together because of that. So that community, as we mentioned on the...
Yep, exactly. Yep.
And the internet is so good for that. And Betsy, I know you're passionate about that. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
I love the internet. The internet changed my life. Let me just say that up front. So I come from a very small town, and I was a weird kid from day one. Mm-hmm. And when you're the only weird kid it's hard to figure out if there's something wrong with you or if you're just in the wrong place and time. And I'm 42, so the internet wasn't around when I was 10 years old. Mm-hmm. But as I became a young adult, it was, and it changed my life because I realized there were other people out there like me. And So fast forward to when Warren and I are thinking about making this big leap in our lives. We didn't know anyone else our age who had done this.
Right. No one that we knew that had actually quit their jobs and travel.
Right. And so, while many of our friends were saying, this is crazy, you're insane, we were able to go online and quickly find dozens of people who were doing what we wanted to do. And so the internet can bring you the community you're looking for, the support system you're looking for in a fraction of a second. I mean, as long as it takes you to do a Google search. And the beautiful thing about the whole steampunk thing is that there's such an identity. There's such a movement, a community that you can just step into.
But luckily, because of shows like yours, I mean, this is great. Travis and Chris are able to provide information and insight, and as you claimed, a hub for people to get together and share interests, right? And so within that community, there is someone listening to this right now, probably several, that want to write a book or that want to create movies, want to design their house, want to live more in the steampunk lifestyle. Right? Maybe you want to go to England and travel around for 6 months and go to places that you've only read about from Victorian times. This is the opportunity. These are the dreams. Your dreamers exist within this community. Reach out to them, get their support, because that's something that with community, as Betsy was talking about, you need them not just because you need to share ideas, because there's going to be really shitty days. Yeah. There's going to be days where nothing comes out of your fingers other than gibberish for those 2,000 words. The movies just do nothing. You need to communicate with another person and says, I'm just not feeling it today. Help me.
And that feedback, whether it's positive or negative, can always be positive. Somebody says, this doesn't work for me, I don't like that. It's not necessarily a criticism. That is a silver lining inside of a cloud, because that might clue you into going, yeah, it doesn't work for me either. Or, wait a minute, no, that does work for me, and I don't like what they're thinking. And then you build on it. Either way, it's how you take that.
Yeah, and knowing those people, but I love your show for that reason, right? It's the idea of finding a community and building it up and allowing others to share ideas. Not everyone wants to be a writer, but they have a dream. And if it involves steampunk, then this is the community they should be a part of. And they should reach out to others, because there's someone in this community that's a sub-community of people, right? Mm-hmm. And so if that's the case, if you want to make adult erotica steampunk movies, right? Mm-hmm. That is go do it. Find the right people and surround yourself with them, because that's your dream. But having them with you is important in the early stages.
That's quite a possibility. There's a lot of burlesque going on. So who knows what that'll lead off into. It's
just the axe spray and the music, that's all we need.
I figured that's where that came from. And if any of you do make those kind of movies or go to Europe and travel around and find these Victorian places, you can contact people like me and get on these shows and find other people that way. And build that community, build that dream, because somebody out there is looking to do the same thing as you. And you can learn from each other.
Yeah, sorry, Travis. I didn't mean to step on you there. One of the things that is really important in the process, and we go into this on a lot of detail in our book, but the thing is that you need to tell the world what your dream is at some point. Mm-hmm. Don't do it too early, because you're not quite ready. But after you've defined what you want, you've set the date, and you've gathered some people around you to support you, tell the world, because that's how you find others like you. Right? If you want to go and travel around Europe recreating a Victorian era experience that you've only read about, then tell the world about it. Because I guarantee you there are 20 people that are thinking about it, and maybe they will either support you, they've already done it, they can give you ideas, or they'll go do it with you. It doesn't matter.
And just as important, I'm sorry, go ahead, Betsy.
I was going to say, we call it flying your freak flag.
Yeah.
There you go. And just as important, you guys can attest to this. You put it out there, especially as something like travel, and you'll have people invite you into their homes. Exactly. Hey, if you're going to be here, come on over. We'll get you dinner and get you on your way the next day. Europeans are really good for that compared to the U.S. Friendliness with strangers, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, honestly, I mean, we've been invited into, several homes, in the U.S., obviously, as well. But I agree with you that the Europeans are amazing at it. Europe is an expensive continent to go to, but we have been able to, because of the kindness of strangers, I feel like I'm in a 1950s movie right now. Because of the kindness of strangers, we have been able to do it for about 8 or 10 months of our trip so far.
Yeah, and the great thing about it also is that people open your homes to open their homes when they're not even there. So we do quite a bit of house sitting. And, we stay in someone's home for weeks at a time, caring for their home and their pets, homes that we are much nicer than what we could afford to rent on our own.
But the important thing about this is not necessarily that you want to go travel or anything else, but when you put it out into the universe as to what you want to do, other people will step up and surprise you with information, with offers of help, with resources. We didn't know anything about house sitting. We knew nothing about this. We had not even considered going to Europe because of cost. Everything when we started. But when we put it out in the world and started sharing it, people were so kind to us. And now we just give back. And I think that that's the key, is that you owe it as a dreamer to get help and tell people, and then later to give help back to other dreamers.
That's how the whole universe works. Everything gets recycled.
Yes.
Right. And used again. And once something is done with one thing, it passes on to someone else. And that works with human beings and kindness and working together and goals.
It's one of the big reasons why we share so many of our lessons. We want people to benefit from our experience and not have to go through all that in order to get to their dreams faster.
Mm-hmm.
We want to recycle our joy.
And you're doing it right. As a parent, you look at your kid, you go, I want to teach them everything and so they don't make my mistakes. And we force it upon people or our children instead of just putting it in front of them going, there it is if you want it. Mm-hmm. And that's what you guys are doing. You're not preaching, or you're waving your freak flag, and if people come to it, they get the benefits of it.
Yeah, that's the important thing, is you never apologize for what your dream is. No matter what it is, put it out there and be very proud of it, because people are going to make fun of you. It doesn't matter. We got a lot of shit from people about quitting our jobs and doing this, but it didn't matter. This was what was important to us, right? It was what we wanted most in this world. So don't let that stop you, because if you turn around in a year, in 5 years, you'll be financially independent. You'll have reached your dream. You'll be moving towards taking your child and going off and seeing the world. Other people will be writing their books and making their movies. You will have achieved your dream, which so few people will.
And not only that, those same naysayers are the ones who are going to come back and say, oh, wow, I'm so excited that you did this, forgetting all the crappy things that they said to you at the start. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah, I knew you when.
Exactly.
One other thing I wanted to mention is stepping away from what you're doing for brief periods, whether it's writing, decorating, or whatever, taking a break from it. This gives you perspective on it, especially if you're stuck for a little bit. You think about it, step away, and let your mind work on it when you're not thinking about it. And usually the answer will come to you.
That's true. I think you have to let the field grow fallow so that it will, so you can have a harvest again. That's definitely true.
Agreed.
You have a podcast you did recently, I think we might have touched on this, is don't worry about the details.
Yeah, if you're going to go to, so I'll use an example everyone can relate to. Let's say you're in Seattle and you want to get to New York. Your goal is New York. You don't need to know exactly what highways you're going to take. You don't need to break down where you're going to sleep every night. You just know you're going towards New York, right? You don't need to know anything else. That is your dream. Then you start moving. The only thing I can tell you is go east, right? That's the most important thing. But don't worry about if you head up into Canada, you end up in Mexico. It doesn't matter. The important thing is always head towards your destination. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to run into scenarios that aren't right. But as you go towards your dream, whether it's writing or whatever, you need to make those mistakes, but keep your eye on your goal.
The important point is to commit to the goal and not the route to the goal, because the route changes. The route changes all the time. And if you're not open to those changes, you're going to miss some really key opportunities to make your dream fantastic and to get there faster, better, whatever. So I think that's the important thing.
Yeah, I think a good example of that is when we were, we had this, when we were going off on this trip, we originally had this idea of how we were going to travel, what countries we were going to see and what we were going to do.
We had a plan.
Yeah. And then we were on a ship in Antarctica, and we're coming back across the Drake Passage, which is the big, giant, ridiculously uncomfortable body of water down there.
Nice.
And we're headed back to South America, and I start talking. Betsy tells me that she wants to take a boat at some point across an ocean.
It was just a wonderful experience, and I thought someday that's what I would like to do.
So I started talking to the people the people that run the boat, and said, where are you guys going next? What are your plans? And they said, oh, well, we have one more cruise to Antarctica, and then we head up to England. And we have to take the ship up there because we're on our way to the Arctic to do the Arctic season, And I said, can we ride with you? And she said, well, no, why would you want to do that? It's boring. It's 5.5 weeks. It's just, there's no passengers, we're cleaning the ship. I said, I would love that. So, so they said yes. We completely threw away all of our plans, changed everything, and said yes. And that has made all the difference, because our destination was one of seeing the world and meeting new cultures and having new experiences.
And that story right there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's the difference, is that we said yes, even though it had nothing to do with what our plans were.
Actually had everything to do with, I'll argue that one for you, because the bottom line is when you have your goal, when you achieve your goal, you stand there and you look at it and you go, wow, I'm done. What's next? So the goal are just points to mark your passage. It's your journey that is the experience. That's the joy, getting to where you're going, that process of creating or achieving. And that's what you guys did. Your goal is to see the world, but you didn't throw your plans away. You just shifted them a little bit.
Correct. Yeah. And then that's the point, is that your destination. I love what you just said. We're sitting here nodding our heads. I'm sure your audience can hear that.
Rattle.
Nodding emphatically. But this is the idea, is that it's the journey. That's what we should all focus on. And so whatever you're doing, writing, painting, starting a business, traveling the world, saving for financial independence, whatever that is, know that by taking little actions each and every day, even if it doesn't feel it's in the right direction, is good, because it's action.
The saying of stop to smell the roses is so important. You have to watch the sunset, look at the scenery to appreciate what you're doing and how far you've gone and how much you've accomplished. These are the little prizes along the way. And the most favorite of those prizes, for me, is talking to other people about it. That community again.
Absolutely.
And
there's also this checking in with your dream, because we all think that we know what we want, but in conversations with other people and based on the experience you have up to that point, it can shift and change. Mm-hmm. So for instance, we went from traveling the world to partially traveling the world and also settling down for a few months in an area, living a little bit like expats. And so our dream has morphed a little bit in the execution of it. But that's just due to, like you said, meeting and talking to other people, the experience that we've had along the way. I think it's really important to stop and smell the roses and just do a check-in. Is this still exactly what I want to do? How could I change it? How can I make it better?
Absolutely. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up. To go over it again, guys, get a big goal. Appreciate the small goals along the way. Put it out there to the world when you're ready, and you'll find amazing help. What other key points do we have for this, guys?
Well, make sure that you tell people about it. You are sharing it with them, and go find your community of people. There's no more important steps, I think, than those.
And I would say make sure you're pulling down your big dream into your daily calendar. If you're not doing something every day towards your dream, then you're not working on it. So
and I would be remiss as an author if I didn't say dreamsavedo.com. It is our step-by-step guide to help people create the action plan for the life they crave.
Yeah, because it's really more than about the money. It's about the money, but it's also about your emotional readiness for your dream, and it's also about the support of the people around you. And all of those things work together. It's not just about putting money in the bank, no matter what your dream is.
Why don't you guys take a second, tell everybody where they can find you online.
You can find us at marriedwithluggage.com, where we have, 500 or so articles and a weekly podcast and
a weekly newsletter and information to help you go after whatever you want in life.
We absolutely believe in what we're doing, and we're so committed to having other people realize their dreams. It feels so damn good. I can't even tell you over the airwaves, and I want you to have it.
There you go. Okay, guys, go look them up. Seriously, I've been following these guys for 1.5 years, and it's good stuff. It's good daily philosophy as well as lifelong dream achievement. So, guys, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Travis.
We loved it, Travis.